Then we get to ecumenism, which refers to the movement towards religious unity um, amongst Christian denominations. It promotes harmony, understanding, appreciation, and respect. It acknowledges the unity in Christ, and that outweighs the diversity in practices and beliefs. And it's to oppose sectarianism, which is division and conflict between groups within the same religion. So for the ecumenical movements, it's so important to remember that it's all within Christianity and it's all within the one religious tradition. So in 1977, several Australian churches combined to create the Uniting Church. Guys, I literally only put this in because I've seen it in, I think, two papers now. I think I've seen it in HSC and I think I've seen it in Y12, and it just traumatizes me every single time I see it. I'm like, I will not let anyone get this question wrong. Um, because it is an example of like ecumenism and churches coming together, because the Australian church is combined. The Uniting Church today is comprised of the Congregational Union of Australia, of the Methodist Church, and of the Presbyterian Church, which united all together under the Uniting Church to promote dialogue for the greater good. So then there's the National Council of Churches Australia, which is the umbrella organisation uniting many of Australia's Christian churches. It's comprised of Catholic, Orthodox and Protestant variants, and they can assist the community in issues of faith and unity, gender issues, Indigenous people, social justice and international topics. It works with state councils as well. And it's associated with the International Focused World Council of Churches. And just some examples, um, they have been outspoken about Australia's involvement in the Iraq War and the refugee policy. And they even created the National Program on Refugees and Displaced People. And that's all the churches coming together towards that. So those are just some examples, but it's really just emphasizing the similarities and appreciating the differences rather than having all this sectarianism and all this kind of conflict and dispute. So that there and the National Council of Churches is for all of Australia, while the New South Wales Ecumenical Council of 1982 is 16 member churches of the three Christian variants, and it aims to further Christian unity by enabling members to address causes of division and to pray and worship together. So it still very much is kind of mimicking the National Council, but it's specifically within the state. And again, there's the 16 member churches. So an example is that they have called in Australian government to address climate change and other environmental concerns. So they're putting aside their differences and using their similarities for social change and for the better of others. Now, a lot of people get ecumenism and interfaith dialogue confused. Ecumenism is like everyone is Christianity solely, and the sectarianism between them and trying to overcome that. Interfaith dialogue is interfaith, so going in between the different religious traditions. So it's a formal discussion aimed towards developing greater mutual understanding and acceptance. It's really the same thing, except this time it's not just the different dominations of Christianity, it's the different religious traditions. So it's Islam and Christian and Judaism, for example, all coming together for social change and for working together on common projects and standing united. It does provide an opportunity for people of different faiths to understand each other, and I think that's definitely really important because there is common ground, and that's where the golden rule of all the religious traditions come in their similarities. We've got some different examples, but it's up to you which one you'd like to do. I think we have some more on this page, but here's an example. There's the Center for Christian Muslim Relations, which is promoting positive interactions and collaborations between Christians, Muslims, and members of other religions to build harmony, respect, and understanding. And they give talks and they run educational seminars for schools, and they have tertiary level academic courses on Islam and on interreligious dialogue, which is really important just for increasing awareness and understanding, which can then hopefully lead to greater peace and harmony for all. So that's just an example. We've got the golden rule here because that's the base of the religious traditions and just kind of shows their similarities, even though worship style and everything may differ. That doesn't change too much. Now, the multicultural landscape means interfaith dialogue is really essential for creating mutual respect and tolerance, because you want to minimize misunderstanding so that you can have that social cohesion. And especially in an increasingly secularized society, and as secularism continues to rise, interfaith dialogue kind of unites the religions together to discuss those common issues like dignity, justice, and peace. So The last point of this has got to do with Aboriginal spiritualities and religious traditions in reconciliation. So, reconciliation is a form of acknowledging past wrongdoings so that forgiveness and healing can take place. It's reconciliation for stealing of the land, suppression of Aboriginal culture, stolen generations, erased link to heritage and identity. These are some examples of reconciliation between the religious traditions and Aboriginal spiritualities. I know in my trials I wrote about the week of prayer, where every year since 1993, Jewish, Islamic, and Buddhist groups observe a week of prayer specifically for reconciliation. So they're coming together and doing that prayer for reconciliation. And again, we've got that quote from the Anglican Church where they recognized um, that the overrepresentation and the social dislocation of Aboriginal people in imprisonment is a result from dispossession. But you can also, and a lot of people do talk about um, the formal apology to the